So you want to sound like a pro producer, but you don't want to spend any money? Well, you're going to want to stick around, because I got you, fam. Hey guys, Dilby here. I'm in my studio in freezing cold Berlin. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm trying out something a bit different with more of a quick fire video format. What I'm going to do is try and switch it up between this and the more tutorial based videos. That way I'll be able to get them out more regularly and get them up quicker. So today I'm going to let you know about some of my favorite free plugins. These are plugins that I use in almost every project. Not just because they're free, but because they're awesome plugins that I use a lot that happen to be free. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell turned on. Also, drop a like on the video, it really helps the channel. Anyway, let's do this. So first up is Span from Voxengo. It's an extremely detailed and customizable analyzer, which is really great for getting a visual interpretation of what's going on in your mix. I always advise that you use your ears first, and it would be great if we could just rely on this, but the fact is that we're not all in acoustically treated studios, and we don't have like a perfect listening environment. And a lot of people are using headphones. I know I was for many years. So having a tool like Span is really helpful because it gives us some information that we may not be getting from our listening environment. A good way to think of it is like getting a second opinion on your mix. The feature that really makes Span so powerful is the sidechain input. It gives us the ability to route a reference track into the analyzer so we can overlay it with what's happening in our mix. This allows us to have a visual comparison of our mix versus a mix that we know is really good. This is great for checking things like whether your sub-frequencies are too loud or if your vocal's taking up too much space in the mix. I definitely suggest grabbing a copy of this one. It can be a bit confusing when you first open it up, as it is quite complicated. So let me know in the comments if you'd like a full tutorial on using this to reference your mix. The second plugin I want to talk about is Tal Chorus LX, and I use this in almost every track. This free chorus plugin is modeled on the onboard chorus from the Roland Juno line of analog synths, and I've got to say they did a really great job of modeling the chorus on the hardware. It has two different chorus styles as per the Juno, and these can be used individually or in tandem for a really thick sound. It has a dry wet knob which allows you to control how much of the modulated sound and how much of the original sound comes through, and it also has a width knob which is basically determining how wide the chorus is going to be, how much of the stereo spectrum it's going to affect. I use this all the time on synths, pads, strings, to sit them in the mix and also really thicken up the sound. It does tend to add a few dB, so be sure to use the volume knob to gain match it with the original source so you can hear what's happening. It's super simple and really easy to use, so it's pretty much impossible to screw it up. Just get stuck in and have a go. In December last year, Slate Digital dropped Fresh Air, and to everyone's surprise, it was free. Fresh Air is a high-frequency exciter, which is basically like a combination of EQ and saturation designed to enhance the highs of your sound. It's great for enhancing breath and adding some shine to vocals, and to add some kind of crispiness and air to drums. I know that sounds like a bunch of audio nerd bullshit, but basically it just makes the highs in your track sound awesome. On the face of it, that doesn't sound so revolutionary, but the thing that really blew me away about Fresh Air is that even when you really crank it up, it doesn't get harsh, and when you use it subtly on lower settings, it just sounds really natural in the mix. I always recommend that you use this type of plugin quite subtly. Because it sounds so good, it can be easy to overdo these type of things, so what I would recommend is using the bypass button when you're dialing in your amounts. Get it up to where it sounds about right, and then back it off a few percent, and that should sound kind of natural. What I tend to use is settings on the mid-ear about 5 to 10%, and on the high ear somewhere between 10 and 15%. That seems to work for me, but it really depends on the source material, so use your ears. The fourth free plugin which I'm going to recommend today is the Isotope Ozone Stereo Imager, the free version. This cool little stereo enhancer is based on a more fully featured version which comes with the Ozone suite, but it still sounds great, and really you can't beat the price. Like most of these plugins, it's simple. It's got two faders. The first one is stereo width. You pull it up and it increases the stereo width. You pull it down and it decreases the stereo width. The second fader is stereoize, and this basically takes like a mono signal and turns it to stereo. Then there's an analyzer section with 3 different modes, and you can use this to see how much stereo is being added and also check the phase correlation. On the far right there's a horizontal meter which shows how much phase cancellation the plugin is introducing. A positive value means that it's an acceptable amount of cancellation, and a negative value means you might have some cancellation issues going on. At the end of the day, I'd always recommend you to check your sound in mono using a gain plugin like Utility and Ableton. It's always best to let your ears be the judge of this type of thing. My fifth and final plugin comes from Valhalla DSP. They're the makers of Vintage Verb and Room, the super popular reverb plugins that everyone raves about. Supermassive is a combination of delay and reverb, and it's focused on making huge, spacious, like washy reverbs and delays. It also introduces modulations like pitching and reverses to the feedback chain, which gets things really weird and spacey. The results can be really cool and unique, but be careful because too much can choke your mix. As the name suggests, it can get really super massive. So have fun, get creative, but maybe don't overdo it on the wet knob. So I've got a bonus one here called Vital, which is a wavetable synth that bears a striking resemblance to X4 Records' Serum, which is probably one of the most hyped synths from over the last few years. I have to tell you, I only just found out about this one, so I haven't actually tested it myself. But there are loads of videos on the internet reviewing it, and I'll link to the one where I found it, which was Zen World's video where he kind of compares it to X4 Serum. The bottom line is, if you want a wavetable workhorse, but you don't want to shell out the $200 for Serum, then you should probably look into this. So that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining me on the channel. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you hit the like button and let me know. So all the plugins I covered are listed below in the description. Drop me a comment and let me know which free plugins you use on the regular. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you can hear about the next videos that I post. Also, follow me on Instagram. It's @DilbyDJ, and I post pretty much every day about my upcoming music releases, what's going on in my general life, all sorts. I'm also really active in my DMs, so make sure you hit me up. Anyway, that's it from me today. I'll catch you next time. Peace!